Good evening class. So today we're going to start with the tools. In the second part of this Photoshop tutorial, we're going to go with the tools. So in the left hand side we can see the tools over here. There are so many tools, but the relevant tools which you needed, you can also edit them by getting into the edit tool over here. Edit toolbar. You need to press left click and then you need to find this edit tool, three dots, and then click it. So the window will be in front of you. So the tool which I didn't use it, and then you can move it on the right hand side. How you will need to do it? Simply click and then drag to the right hand side. So these are the so many tools which I don't want it. Suppose if you want to redo it, you want to restore the default things, settings, simply clear over here. Restore defaults. So all the tools will be getting restored over here. So now what I don't want this artboard tool, so single click and drag to the right, select it, click and drag to the right, click it and then drag to the right. So this way you can remove the unwanted tools over here. So for the slice tool also I don't want it, so you can move it, frame tool, and then you can also see the shortcuts are over here. For the move tool V, and then for the marquee selection tool the M is there. Now for the rectangular marquee selection tool the M is there, and then for elliptical tool also the M is common. But what you need to do, you need to press Shift plus M to move to the next tool. That's it. I'll tell you. So starting from the document over here, you can create a new document. So 7 by 5 inches and then okay. So this is the page we are having. And then what we need to do, we need to start with the first tool over here, that is the move tool. So what is the use of the move tool? Currently if I click and then drag it, nothing will going to happen because there is nothing over here. But when I click and drag, we get a kind of notification over here which says currently we are in a background. So whenever you are creating a new document, you are creating the background. This background says whatever you are going to create, it will be on this background, right? Suppose if I click and then drag it, the option says in front of me you cannot move the background, but if you're moving it you can convert this background into a normal layer. So now this is in a normal layer, so now we can move it, but I don't want it. This is a background which will be a kind of cover of a book. So in the cover of the book, the back and front, we need to insert pages. So the pages is known as the layer. So we need to insert the pages over here. So 1 2 3 on the right hand side we can click, and then we can increase the layers over here. So now we have inserted 3 pages over here, and then the cover of the book. So the thing is, we need to create the background. So how you can make it back rather than undoing it, simply get to the layer, new, and then background from layer. In the layer menu, new, and then background from layer. Now again you have converted this into background. So this is the thing, and then the layers are in front of you. You want to remove the layers, simply select the layers and then move to the dustbin over here, delete layer, the dialog box, don't show it again, yes, and then the layer is automatically selected, and then done. Now this is the move tool. When you're selecting the move tool or any other tool, you can see on the status bar, you can see the status bar is giving you different options over here, right, according to the selection of the tool. So this move tool will be getting a kind of selection that auto select and then show transform control. Now what does this mean? This means, suppose if I create more layers over here, 1 2 3 4. So now if I am creating a object with the selection tool on this and then filling a color over here, I'll tell you, don't worry what I'm doing just now, we're going to get into this briefly. So layer 2 will be getting the shape, and then color will be something else, or backspace, and then layer 3 will be having some other color, and then any kind of selection, any shape, and then the last layer will be over here, selection will be this. So we are having different shapes, different colors on different layers, 1 2 3 4. Now the thing is that when you are clicking on the object, automatically the layers are getting updated on the right hand side because we have checked this on auto select. So this will automatically going to select the layer Now if I deselect it, now I'm selecting it, it is not updating on the right hand side, you can see it. So this way it will be very easier for us. See, this is very difficult. I'm selecting, I want to select this thing, but the part, this is selecting. I want to select this, but this is only selecting. So what we need to do, we need to either click over it and then we can move it, but there are so many layers. Currently we are having only 4 layers. Suppose the document is very big, we're creating any kind of document, we're designing, there will be many tons of layers. So what we need to do, we need to simply click on this auto select, and then you can see on the right hand side the layers are getting updated. So this is the basic thing related to the auto select. And then the second thing is over here, show transform control. So the show transform control means when you are clicking on the layer, you are getting a kind of bounding box over here. You can see the anchors over here. So that means if you want to transform this, transform means you need to move it, you need to scale it. You can do it, right? And then enter or click this commit transform. That's it. So this is the size we wanted. So this way you can use this transform control, or other way will be if this is not checked. So simply select the particular thing and then press Ctrl T. Ctrl T will going to give you again this transform box, and then again you can change the shape of the object. So then press enter or commit transform. That's it. So it depends on your thing, what how you want it. If you want to check it on, you can check it on transform control. So this is the thing. And then moving forward, you need to select multiple layers. So from the layers, simply what we can do, if we want to select all these 4 layers, click and then shift shift, all the layers can be selected. And then if you want to skip this one, select it, control and then control. So this is left. Now the simpler way will be, rather than getting to the layer, simply click and then drag from outside of the frame or from here only. So all the layers will be getting selected. Now as you are selecting the layers more than one, you can see over here also the options are getting enabled, that is related to the alignment of the text, alignment of the shapes, or alignment of anything. So you can select it, and then you need to align from left, so simply click it over here. You need to align it from right, so simply alignment is going on. And then if you want to align from the center, simply click over here. So if I select all the objects, and then for the center, all the objects will be on top of each other. Now what I want, I will going to move the objects, and then if I want all these objects to be aligned from the left, it will going to align from the left, from the right, and then on the center, and then again selecting it from the top, from the mid, from the bottom. You need to move it also. Again select it from mid, all the objects are automatically centered. And then if I select it again from the bottom. So this is all about the status. So moving to the next thing over here is coming to the marquee selection tool. So how you are going to create all these things? You need a layer, that is for sure. So I will going to create a layer. Suppose if you will not going to create a layer, you will going to create a selection on top of it only, and then you will be selecting a color. Select it and then pressing Alt backspace, you are filling the color. Now you need to move it. You cannot move it because this is connected to the background. Again you will going to get that information that this is on the background. So what I want, I don't want on the background, so simply I will going to undo it, and then we're going to create furthermore layers. So the layer size is very much big, so we can click over here onto the thumbnail, and then we can create the small thumbnails. So these are the thumbnails we are getting size. So currently we are having the 4 layers, so simply we can get to the selection tool and then click. This is the selection. We are getting the selection, we are selecting the first layer, and then getting to the color palette. This is for the foreground, the white is for the background. So this is for the foreground palette, this is the background palette. The shortcut will be different. So if you want to fill the color from the foreground, you need to click it over here, and then you need to select the color, okay, the brightness, the darkness, and then the saturation of the color. And then this is the hue. You can move it to the bottom, to the top, what color you want it. So if I select this color, okay, and then the information you will be getting over here also, that the current hue is around 45. So you can move it. So the current hue is around 0, okay, and then saturation is 100 because we are giving 100% of the color, and then brightness of that saturation is also 100. And then completely we are working in the RGB channel, so R is 212.5 and then G is nothing, V is nothing. So this is the code of the color. So you want exactly color to be matched, so this will be the code of that color. And then you are also getting the information related to the cyan, magenta and yellow, and then key color, that is black color. So currently the magenta is 99%, the yellow is 100%, which makes this color. Suppose if I make it little bit desaturate, so you can see we are increasing the information in the CMYK as well as in the RGB also, and then in the hue saturation also, right? I think you are getting that kind of idea. And then if I move to the yellow part, you can see in the yellow also, now the hue is 65, and then saturation and then brightness, and then R and then G mixing together to create this color. So this is the thing. And then you can give any kind of color. Suppose if I give this color and then press OK, done. Now the layer is selected. Simply the shortcut for filling the color will be Alt Backspace. Now one thing you need to remember, in the keyboard, in the laptop or in the desktop keyboard, we are having the two Alts, Control, Shift, two keys we are having. So we need to press the left Alt, okay, not the right one. Pressing the left Alt and then Backspace. We are getting the color. Now the color is in front of you. Now you need to get rid of this selection tool also. This is the selection which we are getting on the screen. So for getting rid from it, you need to simply press Ctrl D. You will going to deselect the selection. Okay. Again you need to deselect it. Ctrl Shift D. Again it will going to deselect it. That's it. Ctrl D. Now moving to the second layer. You can also rename the layer also. So this will be of red color. You can rename it as, and then you can also click right over here, not on the thumbnail, but over here, right click, and then you can change the color of it, that I want this red, and this has to be something related to some other color. If I give this as an orange, though it is not. So now this is the red layer, and then you can give a red color completely, and then press OK. And then we need to create the selection also. So I'll create a vertical selection over here, click and drag it. So this is the selection you're getting, color you have chosen, that was red, and then Alt Backspace, the color is in front of you. Now we're only going to create two layers only, we're going to delete the others. So currently we are having only two layers and then single background. Excuse me. So now when you are selecting this layer is on top of it, right? So we can see that this color, the red color, is on top of the pinkish, right? So if you want to move this pink color on top of this red, you simply click and then drag on the layer. You are doing it. So now this layer is on top of it, so I'll rename it as pink. Now again I want this red to be on top of it, simply click and drag and then drop it. That's it. So this is it. So now the shortcut for this will be Control, curly brackets, close to the P alphabet, pressing Control, and then curly bracket left one will going to move the layer down, the right one will going to move the layer up. So Control left click, left curly bracket, and then Control right curly bracket. So you can move the layers. And then this is the selection you're getting. Plus when you're selecting the layers, you can also see on the layer panel, this is the layer panel, you can see that the objects, the tools which we are getting updated over here. Suppose we are in the background, so this background says nothing is enabled over here for the options. So when you click the particular layer, so it says okay, the blending mode is normal, we are going to come it later, okay. And then opacity means the opaque of that layer, the opaqueness, the transparency of that layer. So you can decrease it, you can increase it. The fill is also the same thing, the flow of the color, okay. And then we are getting the locks also over here, the lock, how you want to lock the layer, you need to lock the layer, you need to lock the pixels, you need to lock the transform the position of it. So these are the things. So now I'll move to the next over here. When you're selecting the move tool and then coming back to this selection tool, in the status bar we can see new selection, add to the selection, then subtract from the selection, and then intersection from the selection. So what are these? Suppose if I'll create one more layer and then click and then drag, the option is over here, new selection. So if I want one more selection, the previous selection is getting off. So again you can see. So what I want one more selection with it. So simply you need to click on this, add to the selection, and then click add to the selection. We can move, create selections over here. We can create more selections over here. So now the layer is in front of you. You can also reverse the colors. I'll click on over here, and then also you can press X to reverse the color palette. So what I'll do, Alt backspace again. So now we are getting the colors. So this is for the creating the selection and then adding to the selection. Now what I want close the eyes of it, and then one more layers over here. Coming to the selection, this is the selection, one more selection. What I want to subtract the selection from the current selection. So click over here, over the third, and then I want this part to be subtracted. This part should also get subtracted, this part should also get subtracted. So this is the subtraction from that current selection. And then pressing Ctrl D, you're going to deselect it. As I told you, you want the selection back, Ctrl Shift D, the selection will be back. Now when I'm creating the selection over here, what I want a kind of intersection. So if I click and then make multiple selection over here, so what I'm doing, I'm creating multiple selection over here, and then I want a kind of intersection. So we're going to click over here on the fourth last thing, click, then drag, done. We are getting a selection which will be intersection, right? So this is the function of all these fours. Now the thing is that all the things which you have created just now, if you move close to the corners of it, you are getting a sharper corner. But sometimes what we need a corners which will be very smoother, a kind of blur here. We need little bit blur from the corners. So what we can do, again creating a layer and then creating a selection. So before creating the selection, we can see the feather over here is 0 pixels, px for pixels. So click and then drag it, we are getting it. I'll click it over here and then creating the layer, Alt backspace. Again I will going to create the selection, but this time I will going to give a feather of 5 pixels. Click it 5 or 6 and then press enter. Now click and then drag it over here and see, as soon as you have released the selection, you can see the corners over here are very smooth, blur. So the same color, creating the new layer and then Alt backspace. You can see the difference between the sharper edge and then the smoother edges, blur edge. So more selection if I give around 16. So this will be around 16, creating the layer and then Alt backspace. See, the more blur effect we can create it. So this is for 16, this is for 2 pixels, 5 pixels, and then this is at the 0 feather. So this is for the feather part. And then moving to the next tool, this is for the rectangular marquee tool, and then this is the elliptical tool. So click, drag, we are getting a kind of shape in a oval shape. So simply clicking and dragging, we are getting a kind of oval shape, but you need a complete circle. So simply click and then drag and then press shift. So shift is going to give you the aspect ratio of a circle, and then release the shift and then mouse left click. So click and then drag, press shift. As soon as you are going to press shift and then release the left click and then release the shift key, you will be getting a complete circle over here. Same, the options are same. You want to add it, you want to subtract it, then subtract it over here. You can create any kind of shape over here. Then creating the layer or the space, you can create the shape over here. And then if you want to duplicate this layer also, simply click and then drag, on top of the layer which will going to create a new layer on this same icon. You're getting two layers, or simpler, Control J will going to give you duplicate of that same layer. So you can create the duplicate of that same layer. So this way you can create the same copy of that layer. So coming back to the rectangular, if you want a complete square, simply press click and then drag shift. You are getting a square over here, but you don't want any kind of feather, so simple 0 and then enter it. Then Control D. So this is all about it for the rectangular and the elliptical tool. And then coming back to the move tool, suppose if I create any kind of selection and then the color is over here, Control D, deselected, and then as I told you before also that we are having the show transform control. You can click over here. After clicking over here on the left corner, we can see that we can getting the options. First, what we need to do, we need to select the object, then left click over here and then right click. We are getting the free transform and then scaling and then rotating. So this is simple. We need to scale it. We can simply scale it, right click, and then we need to rotate it. We can rotate it. Skew it. We can skew the object. And then we need to distort it. We can distort it also. And then we need to convert into perspective. Simply click the corners and then we can create the image in perspective. Okay. So distort it over here and then come back to the perspective, back and forth. So this is the thing. And then again distort it, move this over here. So this is the object image perspective, and then click enter or over here. That's it. Now pressing the alt and then pressing the alt will going to give you again the duplicate of that same layer. Either you can drag it, drop it, Control J and then press alt and then click duplicate of that same layer. So this way you can do it. The next thing is select the layer, delete it, click again, right click, and then you need to wrap it. You can wrap help of with this. You can create the kind of flag also with it. So this is related to the wrap and then press enter. So this is with the wrap. Again left click and then right click. Come to the rotate. You need to rotate at 180 degrees. So it is going to flip from top to the bottom. You need to rotate 90 clockwise. You need to rotate counterclockwise, or you need to flip horizontal. You need to flip horizontal back and then flip vertical. So this is related to the options. So how are you going to get this option? Coming back, you need to check this on, or either Control T and then click left and then right. So these are the options you will be getting. Okay. So for this class, we have done with the move tool, we have done with the selection and then the feather. Okay. So in the next class we are going to cover the lasso tool. Thank you.